Welcome back to 365 Unlimited. We are back with another episode. Gannon, Carter, and myself. Tonight, as we're recording tonight, we are going to be talking about our top 5 NFL contenders in the 2023 NFL season.
Right now.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to rock with it again?
Well, rock it out.
Carter?
You got
Whoever. Don't matter to me. Let's do it.
Gannon. You go first, and then I'll go.
So we're gonna go from 5 to 1. Obviously, we don't want to kick off with the number ones right now, and some that we want to build up because those teams have earned that respect. In my 5 slot, I'm gonna go 5A, 5B. I got 5B being the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence and company and Travis Etienne. I think they're a good combo. I didn't think they ultimately cracked top 5, but I want to give them some consideration. And at 5A is the Cincinnati Bengals with Joey B. Obviously 5-3 right now. They're catching their stride. Their offense is coming along. Their weapons, all that stuff is coming along, and the right moves. And Joe Burrow's healthy. Like, that's the biggest thing right now. He's a baller. He's playing his butt off. He's going crazy. They made it all the way to the Super Bowl before 2 years ago. Like, they've been there, done that type thing. So I feel like they're there in that discussion right now.
Do you think Jacksonville, having performed pretty sluggishly offensively, you think they're in the top 5 right now?
No, I left them just out of 5B, but I give them
5B. I mean, you still got them up there.
They're still 6-2 right now, winning football games in the NFL, in my opinion. With Trevor,
I mean,
Lawrence.
they're winning football games, yes, 100%. Yeah. But what leads
Parsons not a big guy on Lawrence.
Yeah, but that's why it's my top 5. But
he hasn't shown anything.
Well, I mean, dude, he is pretty. I mean, what is this? His 3rd year? I mean,
if you want to knock on Dak. If you knock on
like,
Dak,
why are we even talking about this? I didn't want to discuss Cowboys or say that word at all.
That's fine.
Why are we talking about? We don't have to tie everything into the boys. Like,
I'm just saying, you disrespect
You're a
Dak.
Cowboys fan.
You disrespect Dak, but Trevor Lawrence has not done anything in his career. I mean, just to be fair,
give him Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Dak's in his 9th year now already?
They just won a playoff game last year.
All right, forget that conversation. But isn't
they just won a playoff game last year? Like,
yeah, I know, I get that.
It's hard to come by being a Cowboys fan. Like, so if you want to go that angle right away, let's get into it. Like,
isn't it fascinating though that they won that game when Lawrence threw?
How many playoff wins does Dak have?
5 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence.
How many playoff wins?
Yeah, then he had like 400 yards in the second.
How many? Answer the question. How many? Two. And Trevor's in what, year 3 with already 1? Wow, let's go. Like,
Trevor didn't win that game.
Give me Travis Etienne. He's better than any player on the Dallas Cowboys offense. Maybe CeeDee Lamb, we can have an argument there.
I would take Travis Etienne any day of the week.
He's a bona fide RB1, and he's a wide receiver out of the backfield. Like, there's options there with Calvin Ridley. Like, they got good stuff working in my aspect. And then
who was your other
honorable
one?
Mention at the end of this, but those are going to be teams that I liked before, but he showed me reasons not to. Like, they've gone on the road and win some football games with Jacksonville. They've gone to Pittsburgh and beat that defense in a bad climate game. Like, those are big statement stuff early on, in my opinion. Again, that's why they're 5B, and I have Cincinnati at 5A. Those Cincinnati's hot. Like, this could be in 2-3 weeks. They could be up to the 3 spot easily, or even cracking.
I agree.
Even higher in that aspect. But still 5-3. They're still catching stride. We're going right now for contenders and what we know, but we know who Joey B is. Defense is good, but they're not as legitimate as some of these other defenses we're going to break down, I think, moving up in our top 5s.
I think O-line wise kind of scares me with Cincinnati.
Yes. And Mixon hasn't been a factor at all.
Mixon, no, not at all. And
he's been a dog past years when they've been good.
Yeah, and in order to win football games, you're going to have Mixon in the red zone. He has to get into the end zone. Like, at this point in his stage of his career, and he honestly has ran the ball semi-efficiently this season. Like, you can rely on him in fantasy football to get you points, but he hasn't got into the end zone, which is like that tier upper echelon of running backs if you want.
Back, especially fantasy-wise before.
Yeah, no, he's a dog of a running back. I think you just seen the continuous decline, and that obviously comes with age, wear, and tear. But the Cincinnati Bengals, in order to become a top 3 NFL team, I do think will need to establish more of a run game. And they got all the weapons in the world, but it's just, isn't it weird, man, how they always start the year so freaking slow, and you just know that they're going to come on. Like,
yeah, I mean, this year was expected. Burrow was limited.
The Burrow injury.
Yeah, like that hurt the progress with all the wide receivers getting in sync with the offense. Now, I do think a big question mark is still their tight end position at times, because before with their past success and their playoff run with CJ Uzama, like they've been a big focal point to then open up Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Boyd, because obviously they're going to get open stuff, but having somebody to run down the middle where those guys then can air it out on the outside down the field and be their perimeter threat, I think is a little bit of a question mark in that position for them. Is a little bit of a knock.
Okay.
100%.
Carter, who you got at 5, Carter?
I'm in between like 3 teams. It's hard. 5 is hard, man, because like all of them can really. So like at 5, I have. So right now I'm still deciding, but I have Cincy at 5. I also am looking at the Ravens and the Lions. And then the reason I say the Lions is, number one, we all know that's not going to happen. Like what happened against Baltimore. That's not going to happen every time. I mean, every team. Look at the Cowboys. They're not going to get blown out by the Niners every single time. It's not going to happen. Let's
just take a moment. Let's take a moment.
That realistically is not going to be the pattern.
I get what you're saying. It's any given Sunday. You don't know.
Any given Sunday. That's why I like the Lions, because their defense is coming along now. Their offensive line is so deadly. And Goff and that offense is just, I think they're powerful. That's why I have them kind of at 5B, 5C. But I do like the Bengals there. I still like what you guys are talking about. There's still something about the Bengals where I don't feel like I can put them any higher.
Yeah.
Now, no. But they just broke into that. Like they're catching their stride. But we got 100% going.
Yeah, and I think that game against Buffalo, I mean, that's why I think Buffalo is going to go a lot farther than people think. But for right now, top 5, they're not in my 5 right now.
And they were last week. They were in my 5 spot last week. But just even after this performance, when we decided to move this.
I still think they're realistically could get a shot at the AFC Championship again.
The Bills?
I really do. I do. But I don't have them ranked right now.
Okay.
Just like Seattle was 6 or 7 for me. And, they look terrible.
We're doing this at a good time. This is early November. We can do this again like early December. And then January, like at the end of the regular season. This is good because this is going to change so much.
So, Ruckman, you had who? Who'd you have at 5?
I had the Bengals at 5, and then the Jags were like 5B, kind of like knocking the door, in my opinion. And then I got some honorable mentions, but I want to talk about them later.
All right. Well, I'm still, since you took the Bengals, I'll put the Ravens in there right now with Lions as the honorable mention.
At 5?
So at 5.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to get interesting for the both of you now. So number 5, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my God.
I mean, but I didn't want to talk about it tonight.
Let me sit down and break it down for you for a minute. Here's my thing. When it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm going to eliminate the bias when I speak on this because
you're going to have to sell us.
I can understand the argument. They had legitimate chances to win the Eagles game. I'll give
this is my reasoning. I genuinely believe. I don't think when we play a top team, it's an issue. I think it's when we play the San Francisco 49ers, it's an issue. And
I don't know. You're literally basing top teams as the Eagles 49ers as your discussion, though.
And yes, currently for this season, but in general, I think when we play a team like Philly, Dak plays fearless. But when he plays the 49ers, he plays terrified because of Greenlaw, because of Warner. And it's different when he plays. I just got a whole different vibe of the way he played the Eagles. He was fearless. He didn't think, made plays, made throws, ran the football. And to be quite frank with you, since the bye week, Dallas's offense has improved greatly. Like we're putting up points, we're throwing the football more.
Mix. But they're going to be limited if they can't start running the ball, bro.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
They got to get TP in the mix more.
And that's why. No, you're damn right. And
it's like 3 yards a carry they're averaging right now. It's like 20-something.
It's rough.
In the league.
It's rough. You're damn right. And it's part of the reason I want Dallas to mix it up a little bit. Put Rico in there. Mm-hmm. Rico Dowdle, give him the ball a little bit and just mix it up. And yes, when people talk about why they're not running the football well, yes, the offensive line has struggled run blocking, and even as of late, pass blocking with Terrence Steele coming back from the ACL. He got blown out of the water against Philly. I mean, there was that last drive with 40 seconds left. He got blown past him 3 times, 2 sacks, game's over. Anyway, right now at this moment in time, I think the reason I'm putting them at 5 is because of the way they played Philly. And we can't argue that because Philly's a top 3 NFL team right now. And you
It's
took
a
it to them.
division game too, though.
It is wholehearted. But what we talk about any given Sunday.
Well, and that's what a point I wanted to make quick too is piggybacking off what you're saying. I mean, looking at the Cowboys schedule, these next 3-4 games are going to be cake. I mean, there's some divisional games in there.
I agree.
But once you play the Eagles again, then you have the Bills, then you have the Dolphins, then you have the Lions. That's a tough stretch.
So that's where I agree. And that's where by the time those games we're in the mix of that, we're going to know who Dallas is.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to know exactly who they are.
That Miami game.
Those are legit
Buffalo.
teams. Yes, those are legit teams. I agree in 100%. But right now, at this moment in time, I'll put them at 5. And 2 honorable mention teams that I have sitting there at that 5B, 5C range.
Let's hold off on some of that till the end.
That's fine. But
let's hear the beat.
I'll throw 5B in there, and it's the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins at 5B. And the reason I say Miami Dolphins at 5B is because the offense is a freaking weapon. But, which I think is a major but, I still just have question marks when it comes to Tua. I mean, even last week when we watched him play the Chiefs, and yes, maybe the Chiefs just bounced back from a terrible game against Denver, and they said, we're going to go win this damn football game, and they did everything in their power to do it. But when it comes to connecting with receivers, when it comes to overall just not making some boneheaded decisions, which falls into Dak category, which falls into Josh Allen category, it falls into those quarterback categories where I don't necessarily think the quarterbacks are that developed enough to not make those mistakes, and Tua will make them. And right now, at this point in time, that's why I have him at 5B, because I still think he's mistake prone, and it'll cost you a football game. No matter what team you're playing, I think it can cost you a game, and that's against absolutely the worst of the worst and the best of the best, because they can compete with all of them. Wholeheartedly, they can compete with the best team in the league, and they'll beat the brakes off the worst team in the league, but they could also lose to them.
So take it right back to you. Who's at your 4 spot then with Dallas at 5?
Yeah.
No, I think it's another interesting one. I was kind of just rambling through my head as to who I could put who where, because I think we could all 3 agree that the NFL, honestly, in general right now is pretty wide open. Like, I think we have our top 2-ish teams that are probably settled in there for the most part. But especially across the NFC,
I think tier
it's open.
1's my next 4, the top 4. I think is tier 1. I think
Okay.
That's across the board. It's tier 1.
All right. Well, now at number 4, I got the Detroit Lions. I got the Detroit Lions at number 4. Reason being, and I know not a lot of people are going to think they're a top 5 team. Not a lot of people think Dan Campbell's a good coach. Not a lot of people do. And that's in my head, I like him as a head coach. I think he's a perfect guy who's got a mixture of the old school type of coaching and a mixture of the new school type of coaching. He's got that players coach capability, but he also can be a drill sergeant at times too. And I think it mixes well, and players respect that. At times, can it be too much and overwhelming? Probably. But I think he gets his players to buy into that culture and truly think about it.
That's true. You have to – I mean, look at the Raiders with their new coach. I mean, stuff like that, when you get
Culture
behind
changer.
A coach like that, like
it's crucial.
It does make a huge difference.
No, it does. And I think, like, even going back to watching the Hard Knock stuff when Detroit was on there, when they were still in the midst of building this team up, I mean, not every coach is going to do it. I mean, some coaches are built like Andy Reid, not to throw a stray at Andy Reid, but Dan Campbell's capable of doing up downs with his team. He's an athletic guy, but when you do stuff your players have to go through, that's another example of being that player's coach. It's showing them you're willing to go to battle with them. You'll go through what they have to go through. You'll understand that their adversity is your adversity, and I love that in him. I do, and one other explanation is Jared Goff gets traded from the Los Angeles Rams. Can you imagine what his demeanor was heading to the city of Detroit? Like, making it to a Super Bowl, losing the bowl, eventually getting traded to Detroit. Like, everyone in the sports world was like, oh, Goff's career, like, how long is he going to end up in Detroit? Like, he'll probably be drafting a new quarterback. But, like, Campbell was able to get this guy to understand he's their guy. And people have bought into who Goff is. Now, the one thing that I think could drop Detroit out of my top 5 is I wish they just had one more receiver. One other legit number 2, medium number 2 type guy that could go alongside Amon-Ra. And then, no, it's tough.
Amon-Ra.
It's tough.
Because if they get into a tough run D come the postseason and they can't run the ball with that 2-headed monster that they have in the backfield, I don't know if Goff can get it done in 4 quarters.
Yeah. Well, thankfully they got Hawk now.
True.
And Hawkinson helps. He's your red zone target.
And Reynolds isn't bad.
It's not Hawk, is it? Hawk's on Minnesota.
It's all right. It's still tight end.
Man, I'd be tripping about that. I did this before on a previous episode.
Okay,
I get it flipped. Laporta's nasty. Laporta's a dog.
So,
but if that was your third weapon with, like you said, a 1B with St. Brown, they don't have that.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. Yeah, you need another receiver, and I think especially for a quarterback like Jared Goff, who's a good quarterback, but probably needs one more guy to kind of help him. And that's what everyone, fans across the world, were hoping Jameson Williams becomes that guy. But will he this year? Likely not. Likely not. And then they lost Marvin Jones too. He took the rest of the year off.
Yeah.
So I'll go, and then Ruckman, you'll go. So at 4, I have Miami. Their offense is just too good. I actually really like Tua. I know he does make some bad decisions, but I mean, you're a quarterback. The ball's in your hand pretty much the whole game. You're bound to make some type of error. And a lot of his errors are like kind of, at least from what I see, correct me if you guys think I'm wrong, but him just taking shots.
Which I mean, I think it is taking shots, but.
And I don't think most quarterbacks most of them don't even take shots. Like Josh Allen, he makes an error. He makes some stupid decisions, but like
down the field at that aspect, it's the same as a punt.
Right. I mean, he's throwing bombs and they're getting intercepted or they're getting tipped.
Yeah, but he underthrows them too, bro. Like and I get it. He's throwing with the top speed in the world. Like the fastest players in the world are on the Dolphins. Like, I
think their defense is more of a question than Tua.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still have them just because they're so powerful. I think they get behind McDaniels too. I like the atmosphere there. I got Miami at 4, but I mean, I think it's once we get into these 3, I think they're pretty interchangeable, but I have some good arguments.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the Dolphins out of my top 5. I got the 49ers at the 4 spot coming in. I think the addition of Chase Young's big and everything. It's nothing on the field. Now, this is my tier 4. Like, these top 4 teams are in my tier 1. And there's different discrepancies. And at the 3 and 4 spot, not 3 and 4 spot, but yeah, bear with me here. But the 49ers, the biggest thing on the field is they're going to be healthy or not. Because when they have McCaffrey running the ball, they can control it. And then the second thing, what they're concerned at me is Brock Purdy and his inconsistencies. Because if some of those factors are not on the field, a.k.a. Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, some of those guys aren't there, I don't think Purdy can go out and win you a playoff game at home or in San Fran. Like, I just don't at the end of the day. Now, obviously, on paper, when that team's healthy, Super Bowl contender. Mark them down right away. Like, the defense is the best in the league when they're healthy, top to bottom, from the secondary to linebackers to the D-line. Like, with the addition of Chase Young, it's crazy. But I just feel like the cap with the next 3 teams that I have, their quarterback plays 100% better than Brock Purdy. Obviously, can't factor Christian McCaffrey because he's 1 of 1. But the injury stuff scares me because none of these guys are going to stay on the field. Like Trent Williams has had injury, stuff in the past. He's not getting younger. Like, all this is just the biggest reason why I don't have them any higher. It's nothing to do on the field because when they're at full strength, they're good. But it's that along with Brock Purdy is the reason why they're not in my top 3 or higher.
No, you make very valid points. And injuries, definitely a reason for concern.
And guys, injury histories, like specifically on the
100%.
team, like key playmakers.
I think, honestly, my biggest worry with the 49ers isn't even necessarily injury. I think injuries probably 1 is the most concerning, but I think like 1B to that, I'm concerned about their D coordinator. I'm concerned about Steve Wilkes. I'm concerned about the way that this defense is not necessarily being called, but the type of schemes that they're running against top teams. And the right quarterback, the right weapons are going to beat it. They're going to break it. When they played Dallas, which is shocking to me that we weren't able to beat it, they were running man. They were running man pretty much the entire game with a single high safety and just daring Dak to take shots. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily – it's quite honestly one of the only 49er games I've sat and watched. But the games I have seen, their defense gives up plus plays when they're in that man coverage and you got weapons against them. And I don't necessarily know if Steve Wilkes is drawing it up the correct way and putting his best players in position to be successful. But
I was close to putting the Bengals ahead of them. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys.
I put them high, and we'll get there, but I'll explain my reasoning as to that. But my Boons, have you gave your number 3?
No, not 3.
All right, I'll let
so
you go.
You want me to double back with my 3? I'll
yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Go ahead.
So with the third one, I'm going with the Ravens. Now, I think if you listen to some people across the league, some people are picking them as their Super Bowl picks right now. Just some guys that I've listened to. Now, obviously, some of the stuff that there's no issues across the board. They run the ball very well. Their offensive weapons, maybe you could point out as a question mark for them, but they have enough to get it done there. And they have the former MVP in Lamar Jackson, along with a very good defense that they've already picked up good wins. They dominated the Lions. Obviously, they took down the Eagles. That was week 1, a whole different story with some of that. I think some of the questions could come down to concerns with the Ravens is the battle tested of the teams that they played with their defense. They haven't gone against elite quarterbacks yet, especially the people that they're going to see in the AFC playoffs coming forward, even in their division, because they beat the Bengals early on. But I think Burrow, that's when he was really a non-factor still. But I still feel like with that defense and the run game, those are the 2 formulas of success, in my opinion, in the postseason, and just making a deep run, being able to control the clock. And you got Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson and that company is healthy, they're one of the best teams in the league, and I might even pick them to be my Super Bowl winner right now, in my opinion. I'm that high on the Ravens right now. This stuff holds strong. The defense is ball hawks. The turnover speaks for itself. The way that you have that margin right now, it gets the offense more opportunities to run the ball, control the clock. And Lamar Jackson's a superstar. To get the ball in his hands and all that. Why is Booten shaking his head? Let's hear it.
Yeah. So first off, I have the Ravens, like I said, at the 5 or 6, maybe the 6 or 7 mark. I'm not sold 100% yet.
You're not sold on Lamar. Just admit it.
No, I like Lamar. I just don't think, number one, what's the difference between their offense and Detroit's?
Lamar Jackson and Jared
Lamar
Goff.
Jackson.
Right, yeah, but
right
that's,
there.
That's all you
That's all you got to say.
Right.
That's why the Lions aren't even in my top 5. It's quarterback play. That's why the 49ers are scary with Brock Purdy. You got to have elite quarterback play, bro.
I don't agree, because I think the Lions have a lot bigger weapons on offense. So they can get away with Goff maybe not being Lamar.
I'd argue it's
though? It's really not. Mark Andrews and Laporta are the same talk.
Yeah, they're the same
That's
talk.
That's I watch right there. Wide receivers, you give St. Brown better, but depth-wise, I'm giving it to the Ravens. They got better running backs. I'll give it to the Lions back-wise.
Baltimore's defense is very underrated.
And no, their defense is good. Their offensive line isn't as good as Detroit's, number one. I think that's obvious. And I love Lamar. I just don't think his style wins you deep into the playoffs and Super Bowl. I don't.
I think if he's healthy, it does.
The
O-line's a good point. I like that. That's a good point.
The offensive line, I get Goff and Lamar are not in the same category.
Goff can't take you deep. I
think Goff can.
He took the Rams to the bowl.
I think you can. I think people now.
That defense with the Rams was.
Yeah, no, I know.
I think people's mind are so on these new style quarterbacks that they think that if someone can't move as well as a Lamar or Jalen Hurts, that they can't take someone deep. I wholeheartedly believe that the true sit in the pocket and throw the ball downfield is still what is going to win you. When has someone like Lamar actually won a Super Bowl? I hear nothing but crickets over there.
No, it's been Pat Mahomes.
But Pat Mahomes, let's be honest.
I'm saying that taints everybody right now, because there'd be 2 or 3 different Super Bowls right now if it wasn't the AFC Championship and Arrowhead every year.
No, but you got a good point, Boons, because
I hear you.
I do get what you're saying. Realistically, the last couple Super Bowl winners,
you're just not so that Lamar can go win you a game with his arm.
But I think you're also concerned about the injury. The way he plays.
I'm more concerned about their weapons too, really, to be honest with you.
Yes, they could add. 100% they could add.
Zay Flowers is great. Odell, really? I like Odell, but come on. Odell
I
hasn't
mean,
really
Odell's better than the Lions too.
who.
Whoever it is, can
I
you
mean,
name it?
Reynolds at times can get hot with golf,
I think I'd take
but who
Odell.
else is on the wide receiving crew there?
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying.
mean, I understand that you do have Gibbs, who's pretty much like a receiver
Gibbs is
Yeah,
my
slash
he's a
running
dumber.
back.
hybrid. Gibbs
Gibbs
could
is
be
my
a
dumber
hybrid
here,
player.
But that's my
Gibbs.
argument with the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a great team. Their defenses, I mean, their defense is really good, very underrated, like you
But
mentioned.
that can win you those bad games. Like that, just sometimes when the offense sputters, that's why I feel like you don't have to have that person throwing the ball. You know what I mean on the argument? Because like you can still win a low scoring game in that aspect.
Yeah, I could see that. I also do think when you get into I mean, you got to score. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
you got to put up points. So, I mean, I like Lamar's got an arm. I mean, the dude has an absolute cannon. But can he get it on the? I mean, can he make a big throw
Yeah,
in a big
he can.
game? I mean, we really haven't. I don't know. We haven't seen a whole lot of that, in my
I think.
opinion.
Well,
Yeah,
there's been success whenever the Ravens are healthy, and the numbers are there with Lamar. Like they've won playoff games. It's just when they've ran into problems is when he doesn't have help around him. Like in that. That's
I
just
think the
point blank.
rarity of it all when I talk about the defense being underrated is the fact that they're doing it with not a ton of big names. Just
The
guys who
problem
are
is they
buying into
haven't
that
played elite
defense.
offenses yet. That's the only issue with that defense. They haven't played good quarterbacks yet.
Hmm. I get what you're saying, but
But like the Lions win speaks resumes. Like if we're talking Lions and Ravens, Ravens beat them bad.
oh yeah, they beat the brakes off of them
Yeah, like
100%.
that's
And
so.
yeah, it is. I mean, it's a factor, dude. When it comes down to all of it, like you get your schedule, it is what it is. Is it weaker than some teams? Yes. Is some teams got a
No, I'm
stronger
just saying they haven't got there
schedule?
yet. They're going to be playing Burrow at
Yeah.
full strength. They're going to
But
be
we
playing
have,
Lamar better now. They
yeah,
haven't played the division games as much yet.
no, 100%. But we've seen Lamar perform. Like don't like
Yeah.
we have, and I know damn well he's capable
Yeah,
of winning. He's capable of winning a Super Bowl with the
you
Ravens.
tell me, and we fast forward to mid-February, and the Ravens are Super Bowl champs, and he's the MVP of the Super Bowl.
It's not something that
I
shocked
don't
me.
bat an eye one bit.
Yeah, it's not something that would shock me.
Who
But
do you got at 3?
me
Yeah.
at 3 right now, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. I put Philly at number 3.
Stop.
It's
Oh
fine.
my God.
At least we have 2 out of the 3 are unbiased Budens.
Okay, I
Oh
put
my
Philly.
God. I'm gonna go in.
I put Philly at number 3 because I think the two teams I have above them, I like them more schematically. I like them more. I like their coaching staffs more.
Okay.
I overall think.
What do you like about the Eagles? I know it's hard for you to say, but
No,
what's
I'll
good?
be honest with you. I think Philly's offense, when it's clicking on all cylinders, is disgusting. When you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, who, if Devontae Smith's on another team, could be a 1, arguably could be a 1. You got 2 wide receiver 1s on your team. Jalen Hurts is the top 3 quarterback in the National Football League. Yes, does he still make some mistakes? Yes. Is he a top 3 quarterback? Yes. And I'm not afraid to say it. The Eagles are a damn good football team, and I could argue right now, if like I'm going off this a week to week basis, if I can speak. Dallas took them to the wire, and that's why I moved them down to 3. I think last week when we had this discussion, I would have kept Philly at 1. Ultimately, their defense and that secondary scares me. I think when they play a legit offense, teams are going to put up points against them. I think it's going to be a struggle to run the football against that.
Yeah, that front seven's nasty.
That front's disgusting. The Georgia boys up front, obviously Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. Like it's scary. It's scary. And they've had that. It's just the culture there on defense. Like they are killers. They are guys who are going to rip your head off.
Sirianni's a dog. I know you don't like him.
I hate him. I despise him. I think he's.
But it's the culture, like you said earlier when you talked about Dan Campbell.
He gets fired up.
The exact same words. He's created it there, and he's got the buzz there. Like it's insane what he's done with his resume. Like it's crazy.
I also think another thing, people may not have this opinion because last week when I talked about it, I boosted him up. I talked about DeAndre Swift. And I think he's had a great first, 9 games into the season. I think he's had a first great 8-9 games. I don't know if Philly's had their bye yet or not. But I don't think DeAndre Swift is a guy who can keep that up. And I think Philly runs into an issue if they can establish a run game, because Jalen Hurts, I think, is a little bit more banged up than people want to talk about.
But they can though with that O line. That's the thing. Swift can keep it up with the O
I
line.
think he can keep it up, but Swift is also
That's the best O line in the game when they're
Swift
good.
has also battled injuries before in the past. It's another guy who the wear and tear, he's not used to being a clear-cut RB1. And yes, Philly mixes in Kenneth Gainwell. They mix in guys pretty well. And Philly always has, honestly. They know how to handle their run game pretty well. And yes, offensive line, 1,000%. You got the best veteran across the league, Jason Kelce, just one of the coolest people with Travis and all that. But ultimately, me putting Philly at 3 is not a knock on them, because I think they are and can be the best team in the NFL. But right now I'm taking my 2 teams above them. Coaching staff, schematics. I just like what these 2 teams bring to the table, and I think they have potential to be better when it comes down to the wire.
So who you got it to?
You want me to go right to 2?
Well, I got to go 3 first.
Oh, my bad. My bad, Buddhas.
3, I got the Niners. I like Purdy. I think Purdy can win you. I think Purdy can. I mean, look at last year. I don't think that was a fluke. I mean, you could say new quarterback comes in, guys buy in, and you get some momentum. But I think Purdy can win you games. I think he has the weapons, obviously, but some of those throws he puts on, I don't care who he's throwing to, those are on the money most of the time. Now, I know he's had his ups and downs a little bit this year. I mean, their defense is probably the best in the league. I mean, and you add Chase Young. I mean, they were arguably the best defense without him. So for me, I know they've lost their last couple games. I still have the Niners at 3. I think they're getting underhyped, I guess would be the word. I think people are starting to fall off, and they're starting to look at Baltimore and all these teams. I just think the Niners are above and beyond. So that's why I have them at 3 for me.
Who you got it to?
At 2, I have Philly. So let's talk about that. I think it's a key point. Sorry, I was looking up something about Jimmy Garoppolo, because I think that's honestly my comparison to Brock Purdy. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is Brock Purdy.
That's the reason why I never liked 49ers before when they had
just stop.
Dude, what have you seen from Purdy that is any different from Garoppolo?
Turnover prone when the weapons aren't on the field. They lost football games already.
This is his first full season.
Yeah, but that's on the flip side why I'm saying he can't go win it.
And it being his first full season, what have you seen? I mean, seen enough of him to know that's who. So
you put more trust in him than Lamar to take you and win a Super Bowl?
Come on now.
I put more trust in the Niners than I do the Ravens.
Okay,
it's not quarterback issue there.
So you put
team.
You put Philly at 2, right?
Yes.
And you put the Niners at 3?
Yes.
Okay, then this is a good talking point, because I put the 49ers at 2, so ours are flip-flopped.
Yeah, and I got the Chiefs at 2.
Okay.
This is what – so I'll start and then you'll go. The reason I have the Eagles is, number 1, they have the best they're most consistent than any team on offense, or most consistent on offense and defense.
Are they? On offense?
I think so. Yes, 100%. I like DeAndre Swift. Yeah. I think he can win you games. I think
he can win you games. I'm just worried about stability and holding up.
I mean, you could say that literally about any player of any team. So that's why
but some NFL teams have a back that could plug and play. I don't think if Swift goes down or is necessarily not the back that he's been.
Even if Swift goes down, that doesn't.
It affects the run game, because Kenneth Gainwell.
Oh yeah, 100%. But they could still run the ball enough to still win the games.
But I think my key reason. No, and I do too. I do like Swift, but I think what concerns me the most is if you rely on Swift so much throughout the rest of the regular season, if he doesn't have fresh legs going into the playoffs, then you're utilizing a guy like Jalen Hurts more on his feet.
But that's everybody.
It concerns me with Hurts, because I don't think he's healthy right now. And obviously we know he's not healthy, but I think I don't want to say it's worse than what it is, but he's playing through hell right now. He's
playing through hell, and he still managed to beat the Cowboys.
He did, but Jalen Hurts didn't beat the Cowboys.
I know, but I mean, you look, and here's my point too: is I mean, their offense, they got the nastiest weapons in the league.
Yeah,
I mean,
Devontae and AJ
it's
are terrifying, 100%.
Dallas Goddard.
yeah, Goddard's a
Goddard's
stud.
out. Goddard's out now. Broke
For
his
how long?
forearm. I think
he
it's a
broke
four
his
to
forearm?
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that sucks because he was just playing well.
He was
these
just
last
starting to
couple of weeks.
pop.
Oh.
Just starting to pop.
I mean, but he'll still be back in the mix.
He'll
Yeah,
be
I just
back come
can't
playoff time.
I just can't drop Philly.
Yeah, I got them on 1.
Yeah, we can just get into it. So, I mean, I have Philly at 2 and I have Kansas City at 1.
Yeah.
Kansas City is
Yeah.
and it's kind of like this. It's kind of like the Belichick saying that they always said, don't bet against them.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel
fair.
about Kansas. That's how I feel about Kansas City. I mean, look what they did to Miami with really no Travis Kelce. He was not involved in that game offensively. Now, I know he can block. I know he takes away a lot. He gets a double team. It opens people up. But Kelce, I mean, in fantasy, he got me 2 points. And they still put
When
up
does
how much
that
did they-
ever happen? That's
When does that happen?
When does that
and they
happen?
still look amazing.
Yeah.
So,
I'll
I
be
mean,
honest with you.
That's what
Their defense is underrated.
That's what nobody's talking about. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. I mean, that's why I got them at 2. Obviously, they're interchangeable with the Eagles. I said those top 4 teams are on tier. I think these 2 are on their own tier right now with their quarterback play because these are the best 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, it's without debate. These 2 are the best guys, I think, in their respective categories, and the defenses that are there. But the Chiefs' defense is what I think is going to set them apart this year. I think that's the only reason. But if you look at strength-wise, the weapons that Pat Mahomes is throwing to is way weaker and utilizing with the run game than what Philly has. And I think that was the only thing that set me of why I had the Chiefs at 2 and not at 1. Just because when everybody's healthy and stuff's good, obviously Mahomes is better than Jalen Hurts. But that overall offense and playmakers is better with Philadelphia. At the end of the day, it just is. At the end of the day, with Travis Kelce and Mahomes, if Kelce can be limited at certain times, the Chiefs are beatable, I still think, in my opinion. That defense has to play lights out if Travis Kelce can be taken away at certain times because the wide receivers, they're still not on the same page. But it's still every single year Pat Mahomes has been in the league, they've been in the AFC Championship game. Like, you can't deny that this is proven facts, that they're at the top echelon of this league, and it's crazy what's going on there. I'm almost talking myself into having the Chiefs back at 1 over the Eagles, but I'm just saying, like, the weapons-wise, if you look at it, it's better Philadelphia. And that's the only thing that I could pick apart with Kansas City is who Mahomes is going to have to throw the ball to if Travis Kelce is not a factor. And I agree with you. They showed that with Miami, but I don't even have Miami in my top 5 to 6 teams right now. And I just think right now it's still a little bit of a question mark. Can they win a barn burner game? And it's crazy to say that talking about the Chiefs. It really is to say that as a question mark of their offense. But can they go score 30-some points in multiple weeks against some good defenses and have some battles? I don't know yet with that offense.
And I think my common theme. So I don't have Kansas City Chiefs in the top 5 right now, and I think my common theme.
Oh my
so,
God.
so
Can we just pause?
Who's number
the
1?
Dallas Cowboys
Baltimore,
is in his
Baltimore
top 5.
won. Baltimore won. I'm
That's
telling
fine.
you what.
I don't even care about Baltimore 1. I just want to hear the Dallas Cowboys over the Chiefs.
Yes, and I'm going to give you my reason.
What?
Right now,
because
at this
they
point
played
in time,
good against Philly.
No, but
Because
right
they
now,
took, what are we taking, moral victories here?
No, dude. Right now,
We're
at
not
this point in
participation
time,
trophies of YMCA ball.
Right now, at this point in time,
God, this is
there's
bad. I
a
can't
common
even listen,
theme.
bro. I can't listen after this.
There's a common theme between my whole top 5 right now, and they all have better offensive playmakers than the Chiefs do, outside of the obvious in Mahomes.
Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes.
Outside of the
Dude,
obvious,
you can't
Mahomes.
make this argument, Budens, please.
No, listen. Let me get my point
There's
across.
no letting you talk on this, bro.
No, let me
There's
get
none.
my point across. Baltimore Ravens, Mark Andrews, Lamar, Zay Flowers. Chiefs, Mahomes, Kelce. Where's the receiver?
Rice.
I'm taking Zay Flowers over Rasheed Rice.
Stanley can feel just better than any of those guys. Like,
San Francisco 49ers, we know the weapons are better. Philadelphia Eagles, we know the weapons are better. Detroit Lions.
I forgot you had
Laporta.
Dude,
St.
it's
Brown.
Patrick Mahomes.
I get it. And just
So-
let me explain.
What's the
How much
argument to
weapons
the
better?
Ravens?
My argument to the Ravens is I think the offense, regardless of the weapons that they have right now, is miles and miles better than what it was last season with the addition of bringing in the new OC, Todd Monken. He genuinely has Lamar playing some of the best football of his career, even outside of his MVP season. And he's doing it like you've mentioned, Boodens. He's doing it without not a ton of weapons. And J.K. Dobbins goes down. We know he's had trouble staying healthy, but Gus Edwards is playing out of his mind. That Justice Hill has upgraded his overall season from the past years. Nelson Aguilar, another underrated receiver. Odell Beckham, who has struggled to get into the end zone, finally gets his first touchdown. He's not a guy you can necessarily rely on, but he's still a weapon when he's on the football field. Number 1, Zay Flowers. 1A, Mark Andrews. He has weapons. And like I said, that defense is playing out of their minds. So until, like Gannon said, their defense faces a tougher test and has to go up against an elite offense. And you could argue Detroit's offense, yes, doesn't have a whole lot of weapons, but they put up points. It's a good offense. It's not like they're playing against nobodies. Like Detroit is a very damn good football team.
And their offense is better than Baltimore's.
I don't think so.
Who do you think's the Cowboys' best win of the year?
Best win?
Yeah.
I would argue.
I mean, we could go all this all night. This is bad. This is your worst take I've ever heard. Like this is blasphemy. This is blasphemy, bro. Who's the Cowboy? Or who did the Chiefs just beat? The Dolphins. Was the Dolphins in your top 5 or honorable mention?
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
Honorable mention. But the reason I'm
already
telling you,
the better win than Dallas has the whole year.
Yes,
but
is.
The Chiefs aren't a top 5 team. What?
I'm putting them at honorable mention. I am.
Okay.
The weapon scares me, dude. Not having the weapon scares me down the stretch. It does. And yes, we know Mahomes is going to get the football to Travis Kelce. We know that. So does every NFL team.
I get it scares you, but it scares you to not having the top 5 teams?
I don't know. In my general senses, right now, yes, Dallas being at 5 is going to shock you. You don't like it?
Not shock you. It's wrong.
It can be wrong.
They don't have a good win all year, Bryce. Dak cannot win a good game.
Overall,
they cannot beat a good team.
Overall, right now, they're more talented. They are a more talented football team. And yes, you're not going to say it because they haven't beat a team that you think is a top. No,
I'm not going to say it because I know it's true. They haven't.
Yes, they haven't beat a top team 100% right now. I agree. But
right now, they haven't since Dak's been in the league.
All right, dude. All right, we're not going to get into this Dak conversation.
Dude, it's the Cowboys.
I'm still saying, overall.
It's the Chiefs. The Chiefs not in the top 5. Like, you can't.
It scares me, dude. I'm not saying the Chiefs are not a top 6 NFL, top 7
And then to disrespect
NFL
the Chiefs
team.
even more with the defense. Their defense is better than the Dallas Cowboys defense, bro. If we really want to get into that discussion right now.
I don't know if I agree.
If Micah Parsons is not pressuring the quarterback, they suck.
I mean,
Marcus
I just look
Lawrence
at this is what I look at.
Oh my gosh.
I look at Ravens, and this is how I have it in my mind. I see the Ravens.
I can't even get over this anymore, dude.
I see the Ravens playing. I'm talking about AFC. I see the Ravens playing Miami. I see the Ravens playing the Bengals.
Miami can't beat a good team. That's why
the
they're
Chiefs.
not mine.
I don't think the Ravens could beat the Bengals.
You don't think so?
No.
They almost beat them. They almost beat them last year with a backup quarterback.
I don't think they can. They definitely can't beat Kansas City.
Why not?
Definitely not. Not even close.
Why not though? No, break that matchup down to me. Why not? Why can't the Ravens beat the Chiefs?
Why?
Just because they haven't in the past.
So if the Chiefs and Cowboys play it head to head right now, who's winning?
I think Dallas would give them a run for their money.
But run for their money. What are we still doing? Moral victories like the Eagles game? Lost.
We did lose. Yes, we lost the football game. We lost the football game. I think Dallas could play with the Chiefs, bro. Dallas could play with the Chiefs. I know for a fact they could play with the Chiefs.
Yes, you can play with them. That's cool. That doesn't mean the Chiefs aren't in the top 5.
Here's my thing. I like Lamar. I just don't trust him to go win you a game. I really don't.
But why can't he beat the Chiefs?
No, hear me out. I want him to prove me wrong because I like Lamar. It has not shown me anything that he could go in and he could beat a Kansas City team. There's nothing that sticks out right now with Kansas City for me. Well, number 1, their defense. Number 2, they have the best.
This is the best defense Mahomes has had. It's not even close.
I mean, this is the team they won last year with.
I mean,
and Dallas can't even win a playoff game, but they're going to be in the top 5.
Who was the receiver they lost? Kansas City's lost. They lost a receiver.
Juju. That wasn't a loss.
Well, he actually played pretty well with the Chiefs.
I don't know. Rice is playing amazing.
Rice
and
is
you have
playing well. He's
Pacheco.
growing 100%. Pacheco is actually
I still
taking
think
over the
Valdez
role,
Scanlon
yes.
can catch you some balls. I mean, like
That's the Packer you talking. Valdez
Pacheco is a
there's
better
no
running
bias
back
with
than
that. If you're
the
talking about
Ravens.
bias, you have the Dallas Cowboys in the top 5 of the NFL.
I think right now I think they'd beat the Chiefs. I do.
Give me the Dolphins over there. Give me the Lions over there.
I think
give me
they'd
the
beat the
Jags. Give me
Chiefs.
the Bengals. Give me the 49ers. Give me the
You want to hear?
Ravens.
You want to hear?
Give me the Eagles.
All right. While we're on this path of destruction, I'll tell you another thing.
No, you cause this destruction.
That's fine.
Not while we are.
Hey,
while you cause.
And you're completely entitled to your opinion to
this
believe
is
in the
horrendous.
Chiefs. You're completely entitled in your opinion to believe in the Chiefs.
I'm not believing in the Chiefs. It's just that you don't believe in them. That's
it's not that I don't believe in them right now.
You don't have them ranked in the top 5.
That's fine. I'm not saying they're not a top 6, 7 team.
So you don't think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league?
100%
You don't think him and Kelsey are the best combo in the league?
100% he is.
So then why are they not in your top 5? Like this is making you sound stupid. I'm sorry. This is making you sound stupid.
How is 2 guys gonna win you a Super Bowl? How is 2 guys going to win you a Super Bowl?
So you think the Ravens can win it all? Who's their 2 guys on offense?
Their defense as a whole, their defense.
The Kansas City defense is in that conversation. They're playing that good.
Right now,
watch the Chiefs.
Right now,
have you not seen what they just did to Tua last week?
Did you see what happened in Denver? Did you see what happened with Denver?
Denver, how many points they put up?
I mean, but you could say Carlson.
They beat them. Their offense
Arizona
sputtered.
Beat you.
The Chiefs' offense sputtered, just like I think it can in a big time game right now. Because if receivers aren't getting open and defenses are playing the Chiefs' offense
you lost to the Cardinals by 2 scores.
Realistically, Travis Kelce.
Well, you can't even answer that question.
That's probably the worst. That's probably honestly the worst.
We have this conversation though. We have this conversation. No, it's not.
Denver is 100% better than Arizona.
Denver is. Denver's better than Arizona. Yes, but nothing is going right in Denver. And yes, they're starting to improve. Denver is 100% starting.
And once again, that is a division game. It's not an excuse. But look, the Steelers made Lamar look like he's never played football in his life.
The Steelers are a top 3 defense.
Okay.
That's my argument with. I know it's not an excuse, but division games are so tough. And the Ravens, you could honestly say that that's the best division in football.
Yes. All 4 teams are in the playoffs right now.
All 4 teams are there. You know they play hard nose. Any team can beat any team in that division. I mean, you could honestly, this is a hot take, so hold on to your seats. Right now,
I have already heard the worst tonight. So
no, you're about to hear something worse.
I think I'd take Cleveland over Dallas.
Yeah, give me Deshaun Watson. Give me
the defense.
I'm not even going to argue it.
Give me the weapons. Come on now. They're still playing.
There's no argument that you can say why the Chiefs are not in the top 5. I'm going to keep bringing this up until stop recording.
That's fine.
What are you going to say, Carlson?
Their weapons?
No, I'm transferring teams right now. The Bills will not make the playoffs.
Okay, they're not even in the discussion right now. We're not even talking about
this. But I'm switching gears.
You just want to get Booties fired up with Josh Allen. That's the only point of this.
The Bills.
I want to get him fired up because he said they can make the AFC Championship.
100%. The Bills would run through Baltimore.
I would bet my life savings that the Bills would make the AFC Championship before Dallas makes the NFC. And the Bills aren't even in my top 8
That's
right
fine,
now.
But I think the Bills are going to lose 9 games.
I don't agree.
So they play, I got it right now, they play Philly. That's an L.
Honestly, they could beat Philly.
They play the Chiefs. That's
so
another L.
You think the Lions are better
book.
than the Chiefs too?
Right now. Yes, I do. I genuinely do, and that's fine.
I know the Bills have a tough schedule.
So I think the Bills can lose to the Eagles. I think they can lose to the Chiefs. I think Dallas beats them.
Stop.
I think they lose to the Dolphins.
Play through Dallas.
That's 4 more games. 4 more games. We already talked about Dallas' schedule. We know what we're gonna see. There's a rough patch near the end of the season.
At the Bills loss, at the Dolphins loss, Eagles again loss. Seahawks might be a loss.
Okay. And like I said, if it's at that point in time and they lose those games,
and you still
then
got
I'll
the
sit here and I'll
too.
retract everything I said.
It's just crazy that you can't even have the Chiefs in your top 5. It's not even that I have a special connection with the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid with the best defense they've ever had there. Like, you can't. This is crazy.
I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough.
It could still not be enough, but it's still better than whatever Dallas is putting on the field every week.
I just don't think so at this point in time.
I'm more upset with the Dallas pick than I am the Ravens pick. I think the Ravens
Yes,
pick.
I'm fine with the Ravens. I can be sold on them being one.
I'm not sold on the Ravens.
But you can't tell me the Chiefs aren't a top 5 team. Come on. That's BS.
I think
That's
it's
complete
entitled.
BS.
I think it's completely.
Yes,
up to
it's your opinion, but come on, dude. That you just can't.
I don't know, man. I think when I sit and think about it, I'm nervous about defenses being able to shut down their offense a little bit more. And Travis Kelce was completely taken out of the game against Miami. So
what they
won the football game. I get it. They won the football game. But if you take away their best player and
that's the best win of the year compared to Dallas.
It is.
Yes, it is. So why is Dallas ranked and not the Chiefs?
Because I think Dallas is a better football team overall right now. Overall, I think they're a better football team. Their offense is clicking now.
It's one game, Carlson. They haven't clicked all
year. They've been clicking for 3 games now. The offense has played well. It has.
Yeah, you played okay against the Rams.
At the end of the day, dude, if your offense is clicking, it's clicking. It don't matter who you're playing. We talk about this any given Sunday type thing. It don't matter if your offense is clicking.
Mahomes can click.
Mahomes is always clicking.
Exactly.
Mahomes is always clicking.
But he's not ranked in your top 5. Yeah, we don't have him in the top 5.
I'm not ranking individuals. I'm ranking the team.
Yeah, I think
overall, I don't think they're a top 5 team right now, and that could be different by next week. It's a week-to-week basis.
This is crazy.
I'm fine with having Baltimore in the 5, maybe 4, maybe even 3. You gotta, and like I said, I want Lamar to win a Super Bowl. I think that'd be awesome. I really like Lamar. I liked him at Louisville too. I just do not think that their team has proven that they can go deep into the playoffs and win. I just don't. So I would take the Chiefs, Eagles, and the Niners. I'm betting on them over Baltimore to go in and win a big game. I mean,
throwing Baltimore, and that's when I said that tier 1. Throwing Baltimore in there. That's
so I want to switch.
Saying.
I want to switch gears for a minute.
But what Carlson says.
I want to ask you guys about the Eagles. So we talk about we've all had them in the top 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top 2, I think. Oh yeah, you got them at 3. I forgot.
So the Eagles, I want to talk about their schedule because they have a tough road ahead. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. WL. So the Eagles got the Chiefs. That's not till the 20th.
Where at?
Let's see.
Well, you better say the Eagles are going to win because the Chiefs are in a top 5 team. So
that doesn't necessarily mean the Chiefs won't win just because they're not a top 5 team in my eyes.
Chiefs will win that game.
You're taking the Chiefs over over Philly. How about you, Gannon?
Where's it at?
I don't see it. It doesn't.
I mean, if it's definitely a higher percentage if they're in Arrowhead.
Let me look. I'll look it up and.
I got you.
Just go to the schedule and I'll tell you.
That's what I was on.
At the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. It's in Arrowhead.
Okay. Next week.
It's Monday Night Football.
Next week after that, Bills, Eagles. Who you got?
Eagles.
Who you got, Boodens?
I think Buffalo. I think Eagles could lose 2 straight. I really do. That's a tough
week.
Then after this, we can go through the rest of the Cowboys schedule.
That's fine. Just keep bringing them up. I'm talking about a whole different team.
No, because this is awful. This is so bad. I'm in your head rent free the rest of this episode because this is horrendous.
So the 49ers got the Eagles the week after they play the Bills. Spoons, who you got? 49ers or Philly?
So this is my prediction. I think the Eagles will.
I got the Eagles losing the next 3 out of 4.
So I think they'll win.
Not necessarily the next 3, but 3 out of 4.
I think they're going to lose to the Chiefs and the Bills.
Bills.
I think they'll beat the Niners.
Okay. I think Dallas beats them in their second matchup. Like you said, we've talked about division. I think they split. I think they do split.
I mean, they very well could split.
And I think Philly wins one of those 3 games.
So Dallas could go 0-4
Chiefs,
in
Bills,
that stretch.
49ers.
The Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, and Lions. They could be 0-4 after that.
They could. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they can't.
They could add a 5th one in there with Seattle.
They're not going to lose to Seattle.
What?
Who, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
They went in and mollywopped the Lions earlier this year.
They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose to Seattle. I refuse.
Who, Cowboys?
Yeah, I don't think they're losing to Seattle.
Who do you say the Cowboys' best win was this year?
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they haven't had a
Chargers?
weak
Yeah,
schedule.
Chargers.
To start
Probably
the
the
season, they've had a weak
Chargers.
schedule. I think
And
early
the
on in the
Chiefs,
season.
and the Chiefs have a better win against the Dolphins.
I think early on in the
They have
season,
a better
you could say-
quarterback. They have a better head coach, but
The
they're still
Rams
not
are a
top
good. I
five.
mean, the Rams are a solid team
but they're
as
not
well.
in the top five.
I think Dallas's best win was early on in the season when, at the time,
which means
their
nothing.
defense was clicking, which was the Jets.
Which
and
means
obviously-
nothing because Trayvon Diggs is out. Means nothing now.
I
What is
think
that?
your biggest
What?
win was the comeback against the comeback game when you beat the Chargers. That's been your biggest win.
Yes.
I think
you
the
have
Rams game
The
was big
Chargers
too.
are not good.
I think beating the Rams was big. I mean, the Rams got weapons. They're a good football team. They're not
good.
They're not who they were. They're a good football team. Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, the Rams are a good football team.
I mean, I don't
They're
think
not a great football team. They're not a top 10 football team, but they
Just
are a
like
good
the
football
Cowboys.
team.
They're just
Carlson,
solid.
you guys will lose to Miami.
Yes.
I think you'll lose to Detroit. I mean, you could realistically
That's why I
lose.
told you they got
Except
a
the
tough stretch.
Commanders game, you could lose 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you
Yeah,
could
we
honestly
could.
say 4 in a row.
Yes, because they don't beat good teams. This is not. We're not saying this because we have a bias against the Cowboys.
But
Bryce. This is
I'm
what
not
happens.
Gannon,
in
I'm
big
not-
time games.
I'm not arguing the fact that there's a possibility they lose 4 games out of that. I'm not
I'm
arguing
just
that.
saying they're going
I'm
to lose
just
at
telling
least
you.
3 out of that 4.
And
I'll
that's
bet money
fine.
on that.
And I'll bet money the Eagles lose the next 3 out of their 4. I'll bet money. I don't think. What do you mean, dude? We just went over who they play. The Chiefs, the Bills, the 49ers, and the Cowboys. There's a chance they lose 3 out of
The
4.
worst is 2-2. So worst are split.
It's still 2 L's out of your next 4. It's
And
500.
realistically, piggybacking off Buffalo quick, there's no way they're going to lose 9 games.
I think
mean,
there's
looking
a
at-
chance.
No
I think
way.
there's a chance.
Mm-mm.
There's a chance with the Cowboys.
I'm not saying there's not. There is wholeheartedly a chance that they do.
Yeah, but you just bit off too much of the bone that you could chew because you put them in your top 5. Like this is.
I don't think it's
They don't
disgraceful
have a good
whatsoever.
win. Their defense is not good when Micah Parsons is not pressuring the quarterback, and you
Right.
got Dak Prescott as your quarterback. There's no good recipe for success there. There's none.
I mean,
And
realistically,
you're entitled to
Carlson,
the opinion. I think they have more talent. I think they have more talent than the teams I have in my honorable mention. I think they have a better outlook. I think they're a
And-
better football team right now.
and I think we forgot Buffalo. Buffalo whooped Miami. Like whooped them. I mean,
I'm telling you,
Buffalo-
Miami makes me nervous.
Buffalo's
makes me nervous. I don't
worst
know who they
loss
are.
was the Patriots. Really, I mean, they had a close one with the Jaguars. I mean, that first game against the Jets.
Miami makes
yeah.
me nervous. I don't know who they are. I like Jacksonville's outlook more than I do Miami's.
Yeah, I had them. I had my honorable mention.
really
with
do.
The Lions, Dolphins.
And I may have contradicted myself earlier in this episode talking about the Jags, but I think overall, the offense has struggled with Jacksonville.
They're
But
better
I
than
lo-
Dallas.
I like their outlook more. And no, I don't think they're better than Dallas.
Trevor Lawrence is better than Dak.
I don't think he is. It's your opinion. It's your opinion. That's fine. I mean, Trevor Lawrence hasn't done anything more than Dak has done. But I don't want to get into the quarterback conversation. I just think ultimately, I think Miami's a very good football team, but outlook-wise, if the Jags start to click a little bit more on offense, I like what they have offensively, and I think
you
they
think-
could possibly become a better football team than Miami.
So, do you think Tua's better than Dak?
I think that's close. I think it's close. I talked to you earlier in the episode about Tua. I don't have as much faith in Tua. And yes, there's 100% games where I don't trust Dak. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you that I think Dak is a legend. I think Dak is a good quarterback. And I have talked about this in previous years. And I think being in year
You've tamed
8,
down.
I have. And I'm not going to lie about it. And I
Yeah,
don't
'cause
show
the
my
proof is in the numbers.
Well, that's because you judge everything based upon if you've won playoff games, if you won a Super Bowl. That's fine. But
It's just not me. It's everybody else outside Cowboy land.
that's a problem. Because you can't just judge a
It's not a
player.
problem. So there's a problem when you have Dak Prescott holding you as a ceiling when you have so much talent around him year in, year out. He doesn't bring you anything extra when you're paying him $40 million a year. He doesn't bring you anything extra as an X factor to go out and win you big time football games. That is the proof. That is not my biased opinion.
No,
with
it's
the Cowboys.
not. It's not proof.
Anything else. Anybody across the league, Dak cannot go win you big time football games.
It's not proof when at the end of the day.
What do you mean it's not proof?
Because it takes 11 guys to win a game. It ain't ever just on the quarterback. Tom Brady did not win as many rings as he did because of himself.
Well, he is the GOAT.
Michael Jordan did not win as many rings
so
because
you're
of
throwing
himself.
you're throwing the greatest athletes of all time in with Dak. I'm talking about Dak.
I'm not comparing whatsoever. I'm saying it took a team for them to win. It took a team for them to win. Dak, yes.
Let's try and get out of the wild card round first. Let's try and.
That's fine. I get it. You want to talk about Dallas? Get on Dallas.
No, there's no reason.
There's not a lot going on in Packerland. I get it. You got.
No, that's
you gotta
fine. I have
something
nothing
else.
to do about that. Like I have.
Then my
that
opinion
has
should
nothing to
matter
do with
more.
it.
My opinion should matter more because
I don't have a bias.
Fan.
I've literally stood up for Dak in the past. But again, he hasn't taken any more growth or done anything more, bro. It's nothing's there.
My biggest knock on Dak, my biggest knock on Dak is that if you interchange the quarterbacks, I mean Dallas arguably is the best team in the NFL. They have the weapons. They have the weapons to win. They do.
They have Dak Prescott.
But they have Dak. I
don't think it's just Dak.
If you
throw Kirk Cousins there, it is night and day difference.
If you put Josh Allen
whatsoever.
No, listen to this. If you put Josh Allen on the Cowboys, dude, it's over with. I think their weapons, you guys have really good weapons. Gallup can't catch. But you got good weapons. Your offensive line is good, and you can always say, "Oh, they've been hurt the last 3 years. It's old."
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They've had enough to make deep NFC runs.
They have, and their defense has been really good, even without Diggs.
And there's been coaching changes. They've had new people come in. They've had new offensive coordinators. They've had
who have they lost to the last 2 years in the playoffs, though?
Dude,
the same team, the Packers.
They don't even beat good teams in the regular season, bro.
Dude, I mean, you make it to the playoffs in general. If you win football games to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, but are you okay with being to a first round exit every single year with that talent and what I'm saying in Dallas?
No, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay.
But then
who's
it come back to if Dak Prescott? But I'm not even going off of Dak. I'm talking about the rankings.
You're always going to put it on the quarterback.
Chiefs are in the top 5 of the NFL. And you have the Cowboys in there.
Let me ask you this: When the Panthers lost the Super Bowl to the Denver Broncos, was it on Cam Newton?
What are we talking about here, bro?
I'm talking about you want to judge every single playoff loss on solely the quarterback.
I'm not saying every single playoff loss,
falls on
but
his
if you have an X factor at that position, you're going to win some of them games. You're going to get through at some point.
And didn't win the ball.
Cam Newton couldn't throw the ball consistently enough. That's why he's not in the NFL right now.
He's also older now. Cam Newton was an MVP.
Cam Newton and Dak Prescott are way different.
I'm not comparing them whatsoever. I'm creating an analogy in the sense that it doesn't fall on your
guess
quarterback.
What? Cam Newton got him to a Super Bowl.
It doesn't just have
regardless
to fall
if the team around him helped him, Cam Newton got his team to a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott hasn't even got to an NFC Championship game, correct?
I'm not saying you're incorrect. I'm not saying you're incorrect.
Bro, I'm just saying.
All I'm trying to do is compare the situation. It's 11 guys.
I get the argument that you can't always base it on the one player being your quarterback. When he's your 40 mil guy in the face of your franchise and you consistently show up short and can't get to a championship game, let alone a Super Bowl, that's the quarterback's fault because other teams that have less at times are going to be able to get through because they have that X factor there. Somebody who's different and sets them apart. And Dak isn't that guy. He's just not.
Okay.
And I mean, I will say this and try and get on a little. I'll defend you on this. That if you look at who they've lost to, it is the Niners every year. You just haven't figured out. I mean, the same thing with the Packers. I'm going to knock the Packers right now. I mean, the Packers arguably have the best quarterback of all time with Rodgers, and we can make that argument of greatest thrower of the football or whatever you want to say. But the same thing happened to the Packers that did to the Cowboys every single year.
They'd get blown out though.
We still go to the NFC Championship game. We still win more playoff games. Like obviously we didn't go to Super Bowls and win it at the end of the day, but we were still having way more postseason success.
And you couldn't get it done. There's no. I'm telling you, dude. If you go,
we got it done.
If you go
haven't
one
even seen
game
an
extra,
NFC Championship game in your life,
dude. But if you go one game extra, that doesn't matter. You didn't make it to the bowl. You didn't make it.
You
to
still
the bowl.
got yourself closer because of the quarterback. It's
Closer,
just
coulda, shoulda, woulda. It don't matter if
closer.
you're not even in
that
bowl.
discussion. You can't even have the chance because Dak isn't even good enough, bro.
Dude,
I just think this is funny.
you couldn't
how,
beat
like,
Jimmy G though.
I think it's funny how no one's brought up the Bears once. Like, I've at least seen them
That's 'cause
get
they're-
to this.
That's
But I've
'cause
at
they're
least
sitting at
seen them.
30.
Yeah, I'm not even
get to-
talking about the Packers, so they're not worth talking about. But like, there's no
I've
reason the
seen-
Cowboys are a top 5 team in the NFL right now. There's not. They haven't beaten a good team. They haven't. Every single team that I can list above them has a better win. Straight up.
That's
I've
fair,
seen
like
the
I said.
Bears. I've seen the Bears in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not even so much Dallas in the top
You
5.
have
It's the
how
Chiefs
much?
not being
How much
in
do you
there.
remember of the Super Bowl?
I remember Hester returning the kick. That was about it. I was too young.
Yeah.
It's just you don't have Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce in your top 5. That's what's more craziness to me. Like it's just
That's
maybe their
fine.
offensive weapons
That's
are a little
fine.
bit down. But
Did you have
you
Cincy?
can't include Dallas in there and not have.
I did not have Cincinnati.
Chiefs.
No.
So you don't think? So you think Dallas has been playing better than Cincinnati?
I don't think they've necessarily been playing much better. I do think that Dallas overall is a better football team. I think within the course of the next 2 weeks, if my camera would stop flickering, I do think the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, I've said the Chiefs so
Bengals?
much tonight. I do think the Bengals will overtake the Cowboys, yes. Yes.
Yeah, they've been that because they got Joe Burrow and one's got Dak Prescott.
Here we go. It's solely
I mean,
on the
I
quarterback.
think, yeah. I mean, I just think Cincinnati's been playing better than Dallas. I mean, they've.
I think
these
as of late, they're coming on. I don't think they've necessarily been playing better. I mean, there's still some issues there. There still is some issues.
There's issues, but
They
they've
did
been
just come
playing
off a
better.
dominant win. They did just come off a pretty dominant win. And yes, within the next week, dude, within the next week or two, my top 5 will change on a week-to-week basis. And I've said it 3 times throughout this episode.
Yeah,
So
but
right
Dallas will never be in the top.
No, it will. Dallas will drop out. At the beginning of the last 3 games before their offense started to heat up and start playing well with teams and actually put up points on the board, passing and throwing the football and letting Dak loose and letting him take shots, I would have not put Dallas in the top 5. But I trust that now that their offense has gotten going, that it's going to allow their defense to stay off the field and relax and not be as exhausted as they are. Because that's when Dallas defense struggles, is when they're on the field so freaking much, which is what we saw at the beginning of the year. And yes, I do think they have a defensive back issue with losing Trayvon, and I think it can be picked apart. Yes, that D-line is going to win you football games, though, when it's a freaking train wreck. And linebackers have stepped up. They've stepped up with Van Der Esch going down. They have. Damone Clark, Marquise Bell's a safety who is transformed into a linebacker, and right now through PFF is graded the number 1 linebacker in football. He's making plays. He's making freaking plays. Their defense is good, is damn good, but it
Their
starts up
offense
front.
just sucks.
I don't think their offense sucks.
I don't even think the defense is that good at times. Their defense is Micah Parsons.
I do agree with you to an
Stud.
I do agree with you to an extent. If Micah's not on,
They get absolutely shredded when he comes off the field. Shredded.
he is a very important aspect. He's
Bro,
the best player on
he's
the football
he's
team.
the
I
most
know, but you could
versatile
say that with
X-factor
any
player.
team, though. You could say,
Yeah,
if
no,
the-
Micah Parsons he's almost 101. Like it that.
But I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
could
like
agree.
That
saying,
shit's
I could-
different.
No, I could
that's
agree.
like saying we
That's
take
different,
away
man.
Bosa from the Niners. I
No,
mean,
you're
yeah,
not.
that
You're
makes
not
a
wrong, Ruck. And I will agree.
But then they have other people to rush a passer, bro. When Parsons is out, that defense is different. They take their shots. They go deep because the guy can sit in the pocket. They're not scared. The schematics when Parsons is on and off the field is different.
Mhm.
I also think when he's on the field, it depends where he's at too. Because
True,
if he's playing the off the ball linebacker spot, I don't like when there's
I
no
think he
reason.
should be full-time pass rusher.
Well, there's no point in putting Micah Parsons in pass coverage, and it did happen a couple times last week, and there's no freaking point.
That's
in
just
doing
wasting his stamina and better runs.
and I'm okay with him
quarterback.
playing some linebacker because you get to utilize his sideline to sideline speed, but he's already stopping
Yeah,
the
but you
run
can
as
have
well.
you can have other people serve.
But I
service that.
will sit and agree with you in the sense that yes, Dallas defense does transform when Micah Parsons steps off the field, and that changes a lot. It does.
And if you can negate him on some stuff when he's not getting the QB pressure, that defense is.
No, it
it's
opens
the
up
way
other
to do it.
stuff.
Yeah.
No, if you negate Parsons when he's on the field, it opens up everything. It takes pressure off at DeMarcus Lawrence. It gives Sam Williams opportunities. Dorrance Armstrong. It frees up your linebackers. Yep. So if Parsons is on the field, period, your defense is going to be successful. I do agree. All in all, one other hot take I have. I talked about the Eagles losing the next 3 out of their 4 games. Bills missing the playoffs. I'm not saying the Bills will miss the playoffs, but I think it is a possibility
they're
going
to lose 9 games. So
I said there's a possibility they could. Josh Dobbs will lead the Vikings to over a 500 winning percentage.
Yeah, a chance to get a wild card spot. It's the NFC.
You think you think it happens? You think he can lead them to
There's
the playoffs?
There's a realistic chance. There's a possibility, like you said. Possibility.
You don't think so, Boons?
No.
You think that hype
Jefferson back?
It's overhyped.
I don't know, man.
They can't make her stuff does hurt with their back.
It's overhyped. I like Dobbs. I think that was a good pickup for them.
He beat Dallas, so
yeah. I just who'd they play? Who'd Minnesota
Falcons.
just play? The Falcons.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I think it's an overhype. I mean,
but it was impressive for Dobbs to come in there and not know a single.
100%.
Never taking a snap.
He can get the ball to some of these weapons. Yeah,
that's the thing. This is the best weapons he's ever played with.
The NFC's not good. Like to get a wild card spot.
We'll see when Jefferson gets back too.
Yeah, that
they just opened his 21-day window.
And Hawk.
Addison.
Formidable 3.
Yeah,
they got really good weapons. I mean, their defense is.
What's his name? What's the other receiver they got?
KJ Bourne.
Osborne ain't bad. Osborne ain't bad. He ain't bad. I mean, he's not your. I mean, he's a pretty good wide receiver 3. I mean, he's a pretty solid 3.
No, I think that's interesting there. I mean, I like Dobbs. I don't know if you can. I think we just need to pump the brakes a little bit.
I'll tell you what, though. I think if Dallas loses those games that you brought up, Boone, then I think it's Minnesota that sneaks in at that wild card spot.
We shall see.
Right now, I was looking at the playoff bracket. You know who Dallas would have for round 1?
Their couch.
Niners.
San Francisco.
Their couch.
And we all know how that would go.
Yeah, I just don't want it, man. I really don't want to see.
All right, I don't want to talk about Cowboys anymore. Let's wrap this up.
But yeah, ultimately, let's just just say your 5 again. Start at 5, go to 1. No explanation. 5
Bengals
Cowboys.
5.
Go ahead.
I got 5 Bengals, 4 49ers, Ravens at 3, Chiefs at 2, and Eagles at 1.
I got 5 Cowboys, 4 Lions, 3 Eagles, 2 Niners, 1 Ravens.
I have Bengals, Miami, Niners, Eagles, Chiefs.
All right. You heard it here through an incredible amount of debate, an incredible amount of argumentative reason, and an incredible amount of Gannon, Ruckman hatred towards the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott.
There's no hatred.
But that is all good.
It's when you don't have the Kansas City Chiefs in your top 5. There's no hatred.
That's why he put that shirt on.
Dak Prescott.
He put that shirt on because he knew he was going to say that.
Is a failure. He will never win you anything. We will end on that note. Thank you guys for listening.
That is a perfect video that I will crop one day. And
yes, because guess what? You can frame it and do whatever you want, and they'll never come back to bite me in the butt. And I'll go to sleep right back there tonight, very peacefully, because that will never happen.
Love it. Ultimately, I appreciate everyone who tapped in. If you finished this episode all the way through the end,
they probably all left after you
were probably entertained.
Top 5 rankings.
And that's completely fine because it's all subjective. We all have our own opinions and we're all entitled to them. It can change week to week basis.
But yeah, I like it.
I appreciate you all tapping in, and we will catch you soon.